arrest their leading political opponent, and leading by a lot, including Obama. I'll tell you what, you take a look at Obama and take a look at some of the things that he's done. This is the same thing. The country was very divided. And we did with Obama. We won an election that everyone said couldn't be won. We have a man who is totally corrupt and the worst president in the history of our country, who is cognitively impaired, in no condition to lead, and is now in charge of dealing with Russia and possible nuclear war. Just think of it. We would be in World War II very quickly.
He says two so dramatically. He's got the music. It's almost like it's the summer of 1939 all over again. Like, and his father's going to a Nazi rally or something, or a Klan rally. I don't know which rally he did or didn't go to. But yeah, Jonathan Lemire, you think they may want to take out the cognitively impaired part of his speeches from now on?
Yeah, that's an attack line that the Republicans and Trump love to use. But man, that does seem like he was looking in the mirror just there. I mean, and I think that we see these polls that suggest that voters are more concerned about President Biden's age than Donald Trump's age. Trump is only 3 years younger, and anyone watching Trump day in, day out shows he's changed too. He's definitely, slowed down a step. He mixes. He's never, not that he's ever been the most perhaps clearest of thinkers. Not that he ever perhaps was always someone who wouldn't trip over his own words. But that has only accelerated here. And the speech on Friday, Joe, he gave back-to-back speeches in Washington. That was fairly late in the day. Maybe he was swept up in the dramatic music that seemed to be almost playing him off the stage there. Really maybe that's what that was. Yeah. The aides trying to say, hey, wrap up, Mr. Former President. You're just getting yourself in trouble here. He did say, though, he'd be happy to take another cognitive test. He thinks that's the key to election, so we can leave you with man, woman, person, camera, TV, Kaylee, or whatever that was.
He may not pass that.
You just did it again. I want to see. Let's play the clip again, because again, I'm trying to figure out what happened, especially with the Obama stuff. He starts to stutter and everything. Play this one more time. Then I want to ask Kathy if she and her family.
As you know, crooked Joe Biden and the radical left thugs who have weaponized law enforcement to arrest their leading political opponent, and leading by a lot, including Obama. I'll tell you what, you take a look at Obama and take a look at some of the things that he's done. This is the same thing. The country was very divided. And we did with Obama. We won an election that everyone said couldn't be won. We have a man who is totally corrupt and the worst president in the history of our country, who is cognitively impaired, in no condition to lead, and is now in charge of dealing with Russia and possible nuclear war. Just think of it. We would be in World War II very quickly.
It's just how he says World War II. He says it with such self-assurance. You know, Kathy, this could happen to all of us. And in fact, it happens to me about 12 times a day after like 3 in the afternoon. So I'm the last person to judge. And by the way, we're thinking and praying for your families. You guys prepare to batten down the hatches for the next Battle of Britain. But I think the bigger issue here is when anybody under 75 looks at these videos, and I'm dead serious here, neither of these men are in cognitive decline. They're just not. They're tired. They're old. They campaign. And at the end of the day, they start to lose words. We all, as we get older, not you all are all very young, but as you get older, sometimes you wear down and you lose words at the end of the day.
I mean, especially if you have like 6 legal cases against you and you feel like your head is going to explode every day trying to figure out how to get out of them, especially when you committed the crimes. But that's an aside.
I don't know if Meek was being entirely sincere there, but that is also something. If any of us had one federal charge against us, that would be an unbearably heavy load to bear. This guy's got 91 counts.
DJ, I know my ear's not playing tricks on me right now. I know that these people are not trying to flip the cognitive decline back onto Trump. So we are post-duopolists. Like, Trump is obviously not worth voting for as well. But if anything, I've seen a political improvement in Trump where he was deeply inoppressive. He was caught off guard by a lot of liberal smears. But he had a CNN town hall where he dismantled the CNN anchor. Do you know her name? Caitlin something? I don't know her name. But
Caitlin Collins. Caitlin Collins. Yes.
Dismantled her. He just went. Was it 60 Minutes? Some other show he went on. Now liberals are freaking out.
Meet the Press. Meet the Press. He was on. Yeah.
Liberals freaking out because Meet the Press had the audacity to interview someone who's the lead candidate for president. So liberals are melting down because Donald Trump was able to get his talking points out there, and they just fear having someone that can rebuke their charges on him and someone that can be an active political threat because they are inherently anti-democratic. Meanwhile, Joe Biden is running from media, historically low amount of press conferences. The same thing they used to complain about Trump last administration, which I think is a legit criticism. Because what I say, I think politicians should be out there all the time. You should be forced to defend your positions at any given time. You know that press secretary thing? Fucking garbage. Throw it out. Shit shouldn't exist. You should be going out there, but Biden can't. The same way Trump didn't really do a lot. But you have Biden that has been treated like a toddler by his aides in speeches. People see that he's not functioning. So now the obvious concern is who's actually in charge of this administration. It's not this guy calling the shots. And I don't understand why Trump, to be honest, I don't understand why Trump supporters don't make that same calculation as well. The president all follow the rule of the empire. But the Democratic Party have a very unique challenge because you will know who is the next president in line, Kamala Harris.
Oh, Lord.
So if you're looking at both, if you're like, man, Biden and Trump are both old, you have Biden as old, who is most likely going to die, and then Kamala Harris is going to be president right after that. And Democrats realize that's a giant fucking problem because she is one of the most unpopular vice presidents in modern history. But CJ, I said, and if I'll pass it back to you, there's a lot.
No, and to that point, RFK actually caused this out, and we're going to get to that segment too. So a lot of these segments, like the topics sort of overlap, but we'll get to them. But in that clip with RFK, he says clearly, unless he can prove that cognitively he's sound, who's really running the country? That's pretty much what RFK says in the video. But Nick, let me put this clip up because I wanted to stop it before the blonde, I forget her name, but she's from the UK. Because she completely throws fire on this thing when she I don't know if she intentionally or unintentionally, she does this unintentionally. I saw it, maybe it is unintentionally, where she says something just thinking she's just saying her opinion, but it kind of throws fire on the argument that Joe Biden is trying to put, Morning Joe is trying to put forward. So listen to, I think her name is Katie something, and let's listen to what she says, and then we'll stop it.
4 indictments. And it's got to be weighing down on him. But the question here, Caddy, is that I heard over the weekend after this tape was out, it wasn't like, oh, my God, Donald Trump's lost his mind. Oh, my God, Joe Biden's lost my mind. The question comes back to, do we not have anybody under the age of 75 that can run for president of the United States in America?
It's weird that you put it at 75. I will probably take another 10 years, if not 15 years off of that. And it's simply because I have come to believe that young people, like if we want more progressive policies, the likelihood that we can get those policies with a large group of young people versus a large group of older people is a lot more likely. Doesn't mean that a group of older people can't be progressive and all that. I don't want anybody coming at me saying ages, because that's not what we're talking about. We're just saying what is plausible and what's probable. And I'm saying probable will be more to have younger people. If we want Medicare for all, we will be closer to that if we had 400 people that were under 50. Okay, you get what I'm saying? So that's just the point. But let's get back to the clip. She makes this point and she throws cold water on the entire argument that they give here.
Okay. And when?
Yeah, I mean, in a country of 330 odd million people, you'd think that there would be people out there, right? And all of the polls have shown us that none of the country is excited about the prospect of a Trump-Biden rematch. And yet, for a multitude of reasons that many people are disappointed with, that seems to be exactly where we're heading again. I mean, on this thing, it'll be really interesting to see whether, videotape like that one, where first time I heard it, I have to confess, I thought the network I was listening to it on had overplayed the music as a kind of spoof, but it does add to that slightly surreal quality of it, and perhaps that's why he was sort of whispering in this weird way about World War II. But I think the question is going to be, when people hear that kind of videotape where it's hard to follow what Donald Trump is saying, and he does seem to be kind of mumbling, will it have any impact on all of those polls that show that more people think Joe Biden is too old to run for re-election than Donald Trump?
Look at their faces. Because she's basically saying, without saying it directly, she's saying, I'm not sure people is going to even interpret this video that way. Kind of looks like, like it's just like the sound problem. So I'm not sure people's going to see it the way you guys are trying to portray it, Morning Joe. And I'm not sure that's going to have an effect. And then she brings up again the fact that, yeah, they could be 3 years apart, but they're not 3 years apart in the poll on this question about age. They're more like 20 some plus points apart.